Hello, everyone, and welcome to the unboxing and review of the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot by Rose Wright and illustrated by Eugene Smith. This deck was gifted to me, so thank you very much. It was a Christmas gift from a beautiful friend of mine, so thank you so much. So here is the side. As you can tell, it's like one of those bigger boxes. It was made by Llewellyn. You have 78 card deck and 288 page book. So here is the back. You get to see a few of the cards, the prophetic wisdom from the master of the macabre, which is Edgar Allan Poe, right? Blending the divinatory power of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot with the visionary writings of Edgar Allan Poe. This deck offers deep spiritual insight into who you are and what you might become. Stunning illustrations based on Poe's tales of the mysterious and the macabre will inspire your imagination and open your soul to revelation. Use this deck and the accompanying guidebook to transform your spirit and illuminate the shadows of your path. Interesting. So it opens up like this. You got your magnetic flap, opens up like that. You get to see some of the cards. Then you have a ribbon here where you can pull and you can get the book out. Here's the deck. Here are the backs. It's really beautiful. Of course, it's a raven, right? Holding an eyeball. Interesting. So this deck is the same size as the classic Rider-Waite-Smith. I have here the Rider-Smith. Actually, it's just a touch shorter. Like, I don't even know. Half a quarter of an inch, like an eighth of an inch or something. So honestly, really good size. Pretty close to the classic size. Okay, so let's take a look at the book real quick. Here we got the book. Your 288 page, but look at this, it's all in full color. How gorgeous. Oof, I love that. So all in full color, so they did not hold back. Ooh, we get a little bit of a poem here. Deep into that darkness, peering long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. How appropriate for this deck. And you have about the author, you got about the artist. Of course, you have your table of contents, introduction. So kind of like how the deck came to be, explaining what the deck is and all that. You got your guidance, right? So it says here, if you're new to tarot, you'll be able to use this book as your guide to interpretations for each card, which is true. I would not recommend this deck to a very beginner. If you're just starting with tarot, this deck is great, honestly, it really is. But there are certain images that if you don't know what they mean, you're like, okay, I guess, whatever. To me, it was a little bit, if you're just learning, because it is a themed deck. It is a gimmicky deck. I say gimmicky not to cheapen it because it's a beautiful deck, really well executed. I love the images. And to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of gimmicky decks. Like, for example, the Nightmare for Christmas Tarot, that was also gifted to me, but I didn't love it. There are other decks out there, the Alice in Wonderland, or these different, like Game of Thrones or Harry Potter. Yes, I love those movies. I love those TV series. But when they translate into tarot deck, I always get a little bit iffy. Anyway, that's my personal preference. Maybe you love it, and that's your path, and that's totally cool. But I wouldn't recommend those decks to a beginner. So I love that it gives you like how to shuffle, reversals, the deck, what the major and minor arcana mean. So this book is pretty good, honestly. If you're like, I wouldn't recommend this as your very first tarot deck, but if you already own a tarot deck and you're like, hey, I'm looking for another one, this can definitely be, your second, third deck or something. So then we got the Magician. We step into the major arcanas. Then we get the Fool, the Magician. Now it's interesting here. So you get, you get the title, then you get the Telltale Heart, which is what the Fool means, right? But they also explain the image. They actually explain where the image came from and which, for example, here, the Fool was based on Poe's masterpiece, The Cask of Amontillado, right? So then that way we know what the image is based on. For example, the magician here, let's see if we can find it. It explains like what the magician is and everything, what the magician does, like what is the meaning of the card. Then you have the Into the Maelstrom, which does kind of explain more like the upright and reversed meaning. For example, the magician here, the entry features a quote from The Raven. So then we get to know where the magician came from. This is the magician card in the deck. So we know it's based off of The Raven. So it does that for all of them. It tells you, where it came from. Sometimes at the very beginning, this one, it is the very beginning in the poem, Ulalum, a Ballad, Psyche guides the narrator through gall-haunted Weir Forest. So it kind of helps, it helps you in that way, connecting the both worlds, the world of tarot and the world of Edgar Allan Poe. And the whole thing is full color. As you guys saw, we get a full page. This will be the King of Wands, the Telltale Heart, and then you have Into the Maelstrom. All right. So this is pretty much everything. It goes through the whole, of course, entire deck. And as we saw very quickly, we've got some spreads, if I can find them again. Here we go. We have actually a pretty good amount of spreads here. So you can definitely use exercise with the tarot. Now let's get it. So here you go. There are, of course, 78 cards. Here are the backs. They are edged just regular white. At least my version is just edged regular white. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually edge it in blue, maybe like a dark blue if I want to, or maybe black. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I actually will edge them. But anyway, I will be showing you guys all of the cards. If you don't want to see all of them, you can skip ahead or you can skip this part altogether. But I will show you all 78, okay? So here's the Fool. Now, as a fan of Edgar Allan Poe as I am, I don't know all of his work. So, of course, The Raven is the classic Edgar Allan Poe thing. But for example, for the majority of them, I would have to look at the book to see, oh, this is what that story is, right? We got the Empress. Of course, they all look a little ghostly. The Emperor, of course, is Edgar Allan Poe himself. We got the Hierophant. See, I actually like the Hierophant as a mummy. I find that to be interesting. But I find it to be interesting because I've been reading tarot for years. But I wouldn't recommend this to a beginner. I think a beginner, maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but my opinion, I think a beginner would be a little bit lost in seeing a mummy. Or the Chariot, for example. She's not on a chariot, right? Yes, we can intuit that there's two kind of like winged beings, sphinxes, whatever you want to call them. But, I don't know. If I was new to tarot, I'd be a little bit confused. Or this Hermit, for example, right? He's at the beach. He's outside. He's not really in a cave or indoors or, this Wheel of Fortune is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I can't deny that the images, the illustration, the artwork is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So Death, for example, I wouldn't see this as Death. Yeah, we have a skull here, but what else? It's just a portrait. But then, of course, you read the book. It's Edgar Allan Poe's wife and all that, and she passed. Of course, he did as well. But I'm saying that, she passed while he was still alive. I think they were pretty young, so I get it after reading about it. But if I was just looking at the image, I'd be like, okay, the Devil. The Tower. This tower to me makes total sense. And it's so beautiful. The Star. See, once again, I understand this moon, but it also feels to me like the Two of Swords. You know what I mean? It's kind of got that vibe of the Two of Swords energy. Judgment. This makes total sense to me. The World. Ace of Wands. Plus two, I really like, because again, I don't know that much about Edgar Allan Poe's stories. So it's really interesting to me to kind of be like, oh, this is Six of Wands, victory. Okay, I get that, but who is this guy with all the cards, right? Who are these people? Like, what's going on here? So then you can go to the book, see which, telltale Edgar Allan Poe wrote, and then you can maybe look it up and study it yourself. Plus, also, if you love England, if you love, these English architecture, or actually just European all around, this kind of looks to me like Venice a little bit, this Two of Cups energy. But if you love the European kind of English style of art, this deck is absolutely for you. So here you go, Lenore. Five of Cups is a card of mourning. Lenore was his wife in the death card. Six of Cups. And the Seven of Cups. This is a little bit confusing, not that much, but a little bit, because yes, we got two kids. Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia and childhood, but we have elements in every cup, and then we go to the seven, which that's how they're supposed to be. They're supposed to have different elements in every cup, because it's about confusion, choices, illusions, things like that. But it can be a bit confusing to a beginner to see such similar artwork in two different, two cards that are back to back. Nine of Cups, 10 of Cups, I love. The Page. You got your Knight. This Ace of Swords is so beautiful, isn't it? Wow. Three of Swords, pretty classic, the heart pierced. But I do love how it's with wood, like the floor, Four of Swords. This is awesome. Five of Swords, he's all in pieces. This makes a lot of sense to me for the Five of Swords. Even though we kind of see the Five of Swords as there are more people in the card, but I like that he's in pieces. It makes total sense to me. But maybe because I've been reading tarot for a while, and this is honestly a pretty refreshed way of looking at certain cards. There are images here and the ways they've been depicted that I've never quite thought of before. Ace of Pentacles, you got the Golden Beetle, just really beautiful. Two of Pentacles, of course, you're juggling. Three of Pentacles, teamwork. Four of Pentacles, this makes sense because it looks like he's rich, so he's holding on to all his money. Five of Pentacles. This I love because we got the scale. So the symbols are still here, right? The Five of Pentacles have still got the window of the cathedral. They're outside of that church-looking structure. Six of Pentacles, we have a rich person. He's looking a little dark and severe. But we got the scales going on, so that makes a lot of sense to me. Seven of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles. can be like working. He's a writer, so maybe he's just writing. Nine of Pentacles, of course, she looks bougie as hell. 10 of Pentacles to me looks, I guess I get it, because it's like we're looking for treasure and maybe we found the treasure already. Or we can also intuit it as getting to the treasure and there was no more treasure. So it's an interesting image for sure as a 10 of Pentacles. We got the Knight. This Queen of Pentacles I love. And finally, the King of Pentacles. So here are the backs again. The cardstock is very flexible. It's very flexible. However, it holds its shape. It doesn't bend or warp very easily. You know, it's very lightweight, and you can, those of us out there are more aggressive, like riffle shufflers. It riffle shuffles very, very well. And to me, it really maintains its shape. I can tell that this deck is going to be very durable. All right, guys, thank you all so much for joining me for this Edgar Allan Poe Tarot review and unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day out there, everyone.